Google officially launched its cloud gaming service on November 19th. And with it, thankfully, a good amount of large publications tried and reviewed the product so that you wouldn't have to. The general consensus that I've gathered, I looked through a bunch of articles, like 15 to 20. I was really doing some due diligence on this stuff last couple days, and it seems to me like it works. Like you can play AAA games on this service. It's just that it doesn't work well enough. I'm seeing a lot of reviews say that they are having latency issues. Like we saw the video from the Washington Post. It's so blatant. Like when he hits the space bar, the pause between when he hits it and when the character jumps on screen. It's actually like almost laughable. And the jumps before and after that, they seem to be fine, but that doesn't matter, right? Because all it takes is for that to happen a few times during your playthrough. And I mean, your immersion is broken and you get sick of it and you put it down. And your console isn't going to do that and your PC isn't going to do that. So why would you ever use a Stadia service? So, but anyway, other than the inconsistency of the latency, which is a huge problem that I don't think that they can fix, there's also a lot of features that were missing at launch that were promised. It seems like even people like the founders of Stadia over at the Stadia like subreddit are pissed about this. There are a lot of people that bought the Stadia founders pack, and they were promised to get like their unique username on day one, and they didn't receive it. So there were a lot of people that bought it like back in June, and there were people that had bought it in October, November that were getting to pick names before them. And people are not happy. I've even seen a lot of people talk about like taking legal action against Google. I don't know what that looks like, but it's pretty gross. And also the pricing model is still really difficult to buy into. You pay $130 up front, $10 per month after that, plus $20 to $60 per premium game. Doesn't make any sense. Nobody's going to pay that. It's not worth that. And really, the last real kicker is that Stadia's 4K does not actually look like 4K. It's a little bit worse quality than what you would get on just really anything else. So we had a segment a few weeks ago where we discussed the fact that Stadia's marketing seemed to be a little bit light for their launch coming up, like in 2 to 3 weeks. It seems to me like they weren't confident. I think on the one hand, they released like 11 new games the day before launch because I think that they felt that the game package was too light. There were 13 games and 3 of them were Tomb Raider. It was a terrible games lineup. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, it seems to me like the service is kind of dead on arrival. Maybe they can clean it up later, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
We told you so.
All right, so I want to say something about, at least from what I gathered, that the pricing model, I think, this is obviously the entry, maybe the barrier to entry for some people right now. Apparently that monthly subscription is going to go away in several months, and all that monthly subscription will get you in the future is the 4K that's may or may not be real 4K.
Yeah, that 4K that isn't 4K.
I looked at the pictures.
Checkerboard.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know if it's that. It almost like is like washed out in color in some of the pictures, so it was really strange. I don't know what's going on with that, but what I didn't see is that $130 up front. Does that go away?
I think that it does. I think that was for that Pro subscription.
Okay. Well,
the base model won't, but yeah, you still
pay
Chromecast
thing.
Yeah, you still pay for the controller. You still pay full price for your games for a service that honestly just doesn't play as well as everything else on the market.
Right.
The infrastructure is just not there yet.
I think
our freaking Discord can't work through a freaking hour long worth of content. How are you gonna get streamable 4K? Like,
yeah, I mean, I don't think that any of us disagree that like probably the eventual future is the streaming of games and whatnot, like Stadia is trying to produce. I think that is the future. It's just that future is not now. The infrastructure is not there, whether it be, just the internet in general. Like there's just not. Think about how to stream a 4K game like that. Think about the data that uses. And think about everybody doing that. There's just not enough bandwidth or
No,
whatever word you want to use to be
you
able
like
to
couldn't
support
do
it.
it in couldn't do it in New York City, let alone like some rural suburb, like
Exactly.
out in the middle of nowhere.
Between that, just like the sheer amount of like data and like internet usage that you need to stream that game for that, you know what I mean? Like if you want to stream that for like a weekend and like like really veg out and play, think about how much like internet speed and like how much internet usage you're gonna have and like what's gonna stop like the internet providers from like charging you like a huge premium for like needing that much, like internet speed and that much
Mm-hmm.
like data.
Yeah.
That's number 1, and then number 2, just, like, the technology, like, unless you're, like, a high-end gamer and you're spending thousands of dollars on equipment, you're never gonna get the best experience, right?
Mm.
So, like, it's really targeting, like, a niche group of people,
I'm glad
in
you
my
said
opinion.
that. The niche group of people, and I see people trying to defend who this is for,
Yep.
and they're doing a very poor job of doing that. And I can't discern who that's for. They keep saying like, okay, so it's people that can't afford to buy a console or a PC, or that's too
Hmm.
much money.
But they're
Okay,
living in a huge metropolitan
they're
area.
they're yeah they do more than likely have to live in a huge metropolitan area, relatively close to where these servers are being held, because whether you have great internet or not, the distance between where you are, and I feel like a lot of people are missing that, where you are and where this game is being streamed from, it does matter. It's going to contribute to the input lag. And then you have to have not only, like they say, like 10 megabits per second was the lowest speed you can run on. It was like 720p, which, all right, 720p, maybe some games on the Switch kind of run at that. That's not unbearable, but it's not ideal. Then you have to have not just that, but consistent, generally, like Dave was saying, like not being used internet connection at all times. It has to be like perfect. And I don't live like in a hugely dense metropolitan area, but where I'm at, like my internet is not perfect 24/7. There's issues with that.
I don't know who the people are that are defending the niche audience either. I also don't know who it's for, and I've read in multiple places that the pre-sales and the launch sales are way down from expectations.
Mm.
There just aren't a lot of people buying it because it's very unnecessary.
That and, like,
And
I've read lots of posts, like, people complaining that they're gonna, like, bitch about getting their money back for paying for, like, the founder edition or whatever the fuck it's called.
yeah, because they didn't get their
Because
they didn't get their profile name. And
right,
there were
and
like half of the features or over half of the features, I don't want to list them all, but
right.
like that weren't even available to anyone. They just weren't rolled out on launch. And they keep calling it like a soft launch. Not a beta, it's not a beta, it's a soft launch. Well, like then why did people pay like more than full price for your soft launch? Like it doesn't make sense. Like your main audience, your main consumers, like you totally fucked them over. And no one else even wants a part of your service. So
You know,
who's left that wants to play it? I mean, nobody.
look how long Oculus was in Kickstarter and like a beta consumer testing phase before they even came out with even beta packages. They were in like people who are willing to pay thousands of dollars just to get their hands on,
Yeah, right.
the
Well,
technology.
and,
Mm-hmm.
like, I think part of it is too, like, people, like, think Google, like, no matter what they do, like, they can't fuck it up.
Mhm.
But, like, okay, let's look at past things, like Google Glass. Everybody was like, "This is gonna be, like, the new thing. Everybody's gonna wear these fucking glasses and, like, fucking be like a fucking
Yeah.
techie dude," and, like, that fucking nosedive and fucking crashed and burned faster than fucking anything. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not everything they do is fucking perfect. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, they have come up with a lot of cool shit that has, like, revolutionized things, but, like,
Mhm. Well, in Google
doesn't mean
Fiber, I mean, Google Fiber, like,
Mm-hmm.
it seemed to work great, and then, like, I mean, I'm not actually sure, like, what happened with Google Fiber. It was, like, rolling out in a few cities, and it was great, and then, like, it just stopped.
There's a
I should probably
monopoly.
read into that.
There's the monopoly that the local internet companies have on, the internet. It made it really difficult for them to work their way into places. So they essentially,
Yeah.
that's what my understanding. They gave up because it was just people
Mm.
either A, weren't giving it up, or they would maybe spend too much money. It just wasn't worth it.
So
Okay, yeah,
before you
like
go any further, I was just going to say I might repeat some points in other words that you guys said here, but now that we're on like internet speed and like what Wolf just said, like local monopoly, so, like where we're at, you have two options. You got Armstrong, you got CenturyLink. And CenturyLink is DSL, which is like one step above dial-up.
Mhm.
So, okay, on top of that, we're not running on fiber. We're still running on copper. And we have fiber lines run, or they told us this, they raised everyone's prices like 10 years ago, more than that, almost 15, said that everything's going to be faster. We're switching over to fiber lines. Never did. 15 years ago, they ran these lines. We're still running on copper. Other places may have, like Verizon, Fios or whatever that you could get down in Pittsburgh. They're on fiber. Fine. Not everybody's like that. I think that Google, somebody had to be the first one, right? They stepped up and did it. Whether it succeeds or it continues to, this doesn't look like it's doing so hot right now. And it probably is going to wind up like in a Google Glass situation. In my opinion.
Right.
They have a direct competitor with mobile gaming that isn't run through Google, that is already established. Varying internet connections among, nationally. How are you going to, how can you think if it works for you, you have the internet connection for it and you have the lifestyle that, and you like to play games and this fits your lifestyle and, it works for you, fine. Get it, enjoy what you can out of it. Fine. If you're one of those people, cool. But there's just no way that this was going to work on a large scale. Like, it's just not possible. Like, we said it already. Dave said it. I said it. Wolf's talking about the monopolies. There just is not the internet infrastructure to support this type of technology yet. Period.
I like what you're saying about that because they're offering this service, but they have literally no control over the internet that they're being provided. And it's so heavily dependent on so many factors that are outside of their hands. I don't see how they're going to do. It's not like Netflix or something like that. That's way less intensive than the data that's coming through. The one guy was talking about how much data he used, 900 gigabytes of data playing. I don't know, a couple days was it, and that he almost capped out on his monthly terabyte limit in 2 days, like playing at 4K. Like, what's local company? I'm sure he was through some huge company in a major city was his case. Smaller outlying areas and even the big ones, they don't offer enough data for people to do this kind of thing.
That's just it. There's another one. That's just another point. Some people do, but not everybody has limitless data. I'm capped at like a terabyte or 2 terabytes or something like that. And I was worried about it when I decided I was going to, be the next big streamer, I'm not going to have enough data. I'm going to have to upgrade my package,
I think
I still don't even come close to that. But like for you to, like what Dave said, to try and stream a 4K video and play a game for 12 hours and then say you have a family of 4 other people in your house and then watch Disney Plus, Hulu, Netflix, say their stream, it doesn't matter, Sling, whatever it is, Wi-Fi connection over their phones, iMessaging uses data. There's just no way this can work. Like
now,
outside of all of this, on next week's show, I want the main topic to be not just about Stadia, but about cloud gaming in general and how we always talk about cloud gaming being the future. And I see a lot of people in general talk about everything going to the cloud. And I really want to have a conversation about like whether or not that's really what we want to have happen as a consumer, as an industry, because I actually think it would probably be like the worst thing that we could do for video games as an art form, for consumer rights, from pretty much every avenue. I think it would be the worst thing that we could ever do. But let's not talk about that today. I think we talk about that next week because it's just too much and we could probably do it for like an hour.